Getting beat up by 9 guys in Syracuse, to me, there's not a whole lot of shade.
Welcome to the Heel to the Face podcast.
And this right here,
with your hosts, Jared Wicks, Brandon Icebreaker Clements, and Paul Boy Green Esden.
It doesn't matter what your name is. And that's the bottom line. First on,
I have received an email.
Don't forget to email the show at heeltotheface@hotmail.com.
Best there is, the best there was, or the best there ever will be.
Brett screwed Brett because it's what's best for business.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. The champ is here. Oh yeah, new era. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya.
Tweet us using the handle @HeelToTheFace.
Woo! Let's get ready to suck it!
The bell is rung, so let's step in the ring with your hosts, Paul, Brandon, and Jared.
I might as well tag me up with my buddy from Syracuse.
Live from downtown Syracuse, this is the Heel to the Face podcast for the 4th week of June 2017. I am your host, as always, Jared Wicks on Twitter, and joined in the studio, as always, with Brandon the Icebreaker Clements. You can find him on Twitter at Icebreaker21, and Paul Boy Green Esden at BoyGreen25 on Twitter. We are coming off a week, both Raw, SmackDown, as always, but this week was a pay-per-view week as well. Money in the Bank 2017 from the Scottrade Center in St. Louis this past Sunday night, a SmackDown production, and things got kick-started off with controversy, a.k.a. WWE finally showing us that we're not paying $39.99 for the pay-per-views, so they can kind of treat them like SmackDowns and Raws and kind of not give us what, if I paid $39.99 for, I would be pretty PO'd. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, PO'd. That is fair, because it was just, I don't want to get too far off track because there's just so much going on here, but yes, pissed off to say the least.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Paul, we were watching it together. That was, I would not pay that much for that, to be honest with you. How much would you pay for that, Paul?
I paid a fat $0. That's what I paid for it. I went over to Brandon's house and watched everything.
How much would you pay for it,
$9.99.
I paid a fat $0 because I'm poor and broke.
Yeah, it was not a, my biggest takeaway, I was very upset with what the hell was the point of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match if you're just going to do it on SmackDown 2 weeks later anyways? What the hell was the point of that? I thought that was stupid.
Okay, you want to know, if we're going to say what's stupid, then why the hell was the secret tag team, the Ascension, then you bring them on, and then they lose? So,
what's the point of that?
Yeah, because you're like, oh, an Ascension for the Ascension. Oh, wait, no. No, it's not.
Stock way down. We went up for like a split second and then way back down. Sell that shit.
Who else could it have been? Like, that was probably the most annoying part. If you think about the tag teams on SmackDown, I was out of tag, like, it was obvious. It was like one of those, like, it was worse than the end zone cast thing that happened on Monday Night Raw, because at least there was something in the air to make you be like, well, maybe they're taking us for a swerve here. No, it was like so obvious. They knew there was only like one tag team on the board they were looking after, like, and there's no other tag teams on SmackDown. I didn't care for that at all. I do like their appearance though on the pay-per-view.
No, I said that too. I said when they came out, I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm like, it's about time, because I feel like they have the right look. They have the whole Road Warriors thing going on. I said, maybe now's the time. And then they lose. So then I'm just really perplexed in terms of why bring them on the show just to lose, especially the way they did with the whole secret, who's this team going to be?
Well, I meant the appearance of the Fashion Files.
Oh.
The Ascension's good too, but anytime that it was Fashion Vice. Anytime we can see more of them, I'm just completely, if there's a gimmick that I'm digging right now, fully, like I was Miz around WrestleMania time, it's the Fashion Files right now. That is must-watch TV.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yes, I will jump in here and say, yes, it's fantastic. My girlfriend thinks it's stupid. A lot of people think it's stupid, but I am not one that thinks it's stupid. I think it's phenomenal. So, yeah, when they surprise showed up, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So I guess from that standpoint, I guess it really didn't matter who they fought because it was just great to get them on there because I'm in love with the gimmick. I'm in love with the whole package. I think the stuff is funny, the pre-recorded stuff, and also them in the ring has been gold.
It's too bad. I don't want to divulge too much into personal lives or anything, and I think this is probably going to leave everyone with more questions than answers. But it's too bad, Paul, you didn't come over to my house because, unfortunately, I didn't actually see the end of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I had to get it from my significant other as well. During the Money in the Bank ladder match, I was called away for a quick second. Found for the first time in my life, never seen one before. Found a body. And then I went back to watch. And yes.
Oh, that's where you. Oh, yeah. Oh boy, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, so you were the one that called it in. Okay, that makes sense.
So I didn't exactly see the end. I've never seen one of those in my life. It's fun to see one of those for the first time in your personal life. It's kind of strange and shocking, to say the least. But that is the nature of my other profession outside of watching professional wrestling. But yeah, otherwise, the ending of the match for the women's match, if we can go back to that, was
horrific.
It was it was horrific.
That's the best way to explain it. Okay, so I
strange. After I just said I saw a dead body, I came back to watch TV and said what I saw on television was horrific.
Okay, nonetheless, I mean, I was okay with the Carmella thing. I was fine with the E.T. Ellsworth looking guy there. I was okay with that. But what the hell is the point of giving her the Money in the Bank for 48 hours or less than 48 hours, I should say, and then we're just going to do it on SmackDown? I mean, it's cool that we're having a Money in the Bank, on SmackDown, but it diminishes it.
We're not just having a Money in the Bank. We're also having a championship match between Naomi and Lana.
Which we know Lana's going to lose. Lana's going to lose it again.
So next week on SmackDown is essentially a pay-per-view.
Yes, that's what I was
a women's
say.
pay-per-view, apparently.
Right.
A women's pay-per-view.
And it's good, but Brandon, I don't
gets us hyped for the Mae Young Classic.
Well, perhaps. I don't think we could get the full answer to your question, Brandon, until we see what happens on Tuesday, because if you just see perhaps Carmella just win it again and maybe win it fairly,
then I'm good with it.
Maybe there's some build-up there.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I mean, that's the only scenario where I'm okay with it. But if you're not going to have Carmella win it again, the whole thing was just stupid in my book. I don't know. I think she's going to come out and win it clean.
Now, did any of you guys take away? Because I was watching SmackDown this past week, and this is what the women's Money in the Bank match did to me, and that really took a lot of steam away from the men's winner, Baron Corbin. It was at the end of SmackDown when Baron Corbin came out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, reminding us, oh yeah, I forgot he won this on Sunday, because all anyone's been talking about is the women's briefcase, that it took away a ton from Baron Corbin holding the men's briefcase, and essentially the more important briefcase.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say that. I mean, Paul, you were there with me. I mean, my dad was pretty stoked. He's like the biggest Baron Corbin supporter in the world, so he was super stoked.
I mean,
it was cool. I liked it. It was different.
Once we were getting to the end, we kind of predicted, me and Brandon were sitting there, I kind of predicted, we're like, okay, Shinsuke's going to come back at the end. He's going to make it interesting. Is it too obvious that he's going to come back and win it? And then when there was 2 or 3 minutes left to go, I'm like, I think Baron Corbin's going to win this.
Yep.
When we saw the whole Shinsuke versus AJ Styles thing, I'm like, oh, this is cool. They've both kind of given up in terms of fighting the championship, and they were just kind of having their own little match within the match. And I was like, wait, something's going to happen here. I think Baron Corbin, and then as Brandon Clement's dad was cheering Corbin the entire time.
That's his guy.
He lost his mind when Shinsuke's music hit. I said, it's going to hit, and then he's like, oh, my God, here we go.
He was pissed.
So I kind of saw the Corbin thing coming at the end, but still, I think it's a great push. It was something that has been inevitable.
He's going to be a great Money in the Bank.
And a great guy for the Money in the Bank.
Perfect guy. You see him cashing it in? When now that's what happens when you win Money in the Bank. We got to now all of a sudden speculate when we see a cash in happening.
I don't think it's gonna happen for a while. I mean, I'm on the Jinder Mahal thing at least till September, so do not see it at SummerSlam. Maybe we see him at Survivor Series do it. Maybe something in that time frame. I think no matter what's going to happen, I think they're going to hang it over Jinder's head for a while. I think Jinder's still going to be the champion for a while.
I do want to say that I was, Jared, I quote you when you're not even in the room, and I feel like when I quote you, you kind of look up to the sky and you're like, yeah, you did just say my name. Because this is what happened, because when Carmella came out later in the night with the championship, I'm like, man, there goes Jared. Again, he's like, both of these Money in the Banks are not going to be around for a long time. And I was like, wow.
And I felt that way too when she came out. I said, I knew that
She should
there
have
was
just
going to
cashed
be
it in.
something.
If there was controversy, I would have just cashed that sucker in then, right?
Yes.
You know?
Right. 2020, I think she should have. But on that Jinder Mahal point, Brandon, I think that with them selling this kind of making it personal thing with Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal having the number 3 at Battleground, I feel like it's like a foregone conclusion that Corbin is not going to cash it in.
Yeah, not for a while.
That match. I mean, maybe during that match you would cash it in, and then you get a flip at the end. But outside of that, I think they're going to really milk.
No, I feel
Mahal
Baron Corbin versus Shinsuke Nakamura at Battleground on July 23rd in Philadelphia seems like an obvious one to me coming up.
I'm not opposed.
At the SmackDown pay-per-view. And I don't really feel that they would... Again, cash, I'm trying to think here. SummerSlam, the words are kind of eluding me right now. What I'm trying to say is I don't feel that WWE really should tarnish SummerSlam with somebody coming out and cashing it in. We've done it before with WrestleMania. I know people love that. I wasn't a huge fan. I was a fan of, I guess, the result and the fact that Roman Reigns didn't win and Brock Lesnar didn't look weak at the same time. But I don't like your huge main pay-per-view main events being tarnished with like a Monday Night Raw style ending. So I hope they don't do it at SummerSlam. The next SmackDown pay-per-view after Battleground is not even announced yet. Right now, the 2 upcoming pay-per-views after SummerSlam No Mercy and TLC September and October are both slated as Raw pay-per-view events, and then Survivor Series as a dual event. So I know there's going to be something in there probably early November, middle October that's going to be SmackDown. I don't know what that is yet, but I could probably feel around that time Baron Corbin maybe starts cashing in. WWE, I know everybody. I know, Brandon, you love saying that these long-term plans, but WWE, this isn't 1995. They are horrible at long-term plans.
No
the last
kidding.
long-term plan they did was Rock and John Cena, and now it's like 6 years ago now. But I mean, they don't do that anymore. You're saying, oh, maybe at Survivor Series. Maybe at Survivor Series, Baron Corbin's going to be like a 3-time champion by the time Survivor Series comes around. I mean, this is the ADHD WWE Network era. With so much
I hope
programming.
you're wrong. I hope you're wrong because I do want to see. If I was writing the script on this, I would wait till Survivor Series for Baron Corbin. I would like tease the heck out of it every so often, every once in a while on a show, like tease like, oh, is he really going to do it? And then it's like he gets a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And then finally it's a Survivor Series, his music hits, and there you go.
That's
what
Baron
I want to
Corbin would ever be a candidate for what we've seen in the past where they treat it kind of like a championship and he puts it on the line and loses it to somebody else like
No.
we've seen before with like King Kennedy?
I don't see it. I don't see that happening.
So you see him actually going for the belt
at
one time or another?
100%. Not a shadow of doubt in my mind. What do you think, Paul?
I could see what Jared is saying with the arrogance factor, like I don't know who. Maybe it's Shinsuke, maybe it's whoever.
Better not be Kalisto or whatever it is.
No, I think we're safe there. But I think that when you're talking about those long-term plans and then this already rivalry brewing between Shinsuke Nakamura and Corbin, I feel like definitely he could kind of say, hey, I would have won it. The whole thing is kind of set there. The skeleton is there to be had with Shinsuke being right there about to win it before Corbin threw him over and then he got it himself, and then potentially putting it on the line at Battleground with the whole Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton thing. That I could definitely see bubbling over.
Now, speaking about bubbling over to kind of in the past, some breaking news that we had prior to our show today. Paul broke it on Twitter. Mauro Ranallo, we all know he's going to be calling the big Mayweather-McGregor fight. But more importantly than that, at least in this show's realm, is that he's back in WWE. And apparently he put out some information today that said he did not leave because of all the rumored issues, more or less personal issues. And he's back, but he's not going to be back on a SmackDown role. He's going to be back in an NXT role.
I'm fine with that.
I would probably...
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with him not going to SmackDown. But what about 205 Live? At least that's more of a I think 205 Live, I don't want to put it higher than NXT because essentially it's not. But its time slot, I think, is way better than NXT for the sake that
I don't think so.
Well, I think 205 Live, to me, it feels more like the third show because of the fact that it takes place right after SmackDown.
But I don't even watch it, to be honest with you. I don't even. As soon as the show's over, I don't even flip to 205.
I think it's the third show. And what really makes me think it's the third show is it takes place at the venue that the two main shows are on. So, and while not a huge WrestleMania-sized crowd or anything of that magnitude, it's still inside a big traveling arena-style crowd. It's on the network immediately following SmackDown, so it's immediately